The Go Radio Football Show with Scottish Gas. Watch live at 5 p.m. weekdays on YouTube. Join the conversation on 0808 17 17 700. Talking Scottish football first.
He's Joe Maguire. I'm Paul Cooney here with Darren O'Dea and Barry Ferguson. Normally we're talking about just one game at the weekend when it's the Old Firm or the Glasgow Derby, but there's also a huge game tomorrow night. Motherwell against Hearts at 8 o'clock, and also for St Mirren fans against Killie, Falkirk against Hibs, who's going to come fourth, Dundee Livingston, Dundee looking to stay out the playoff position, and Aberdeen Dundee United. And then on Sunday, high noon, Celtic against Rangers. You know the story, Hearts at the top of the table. Darren, I'm looking at you first because it's your old team Celtic at home for a game. How are you feeling about this one for Sunday?
I don't really know because this season has just been absolutely madness. You had asked me probably 2 weeks ago or even a week ago, I thought Rangers were bang there. They've obviously had the disappointing result at Hearts and certainly feels like they're out of it now. I've had experience of playing in one of these games, Celtic Rangers, knowing the league isn't possible anymore.
And what's it like?
Well, we won the game. It was at Celtic Park. Rangers had been much the better team that year and deserved to win the league under Tony Mowbray. It would be 2011 maybe. But there was definitely a feeling of none of these games can pass you by. So I don't buy into anything that the Rangers won't be as the same animal as they would be if they were trying to win the league. So it's really hard to predict. Really, really hard to predict. So I want to say I'm slightly confident. I have no feeling whether Celtic can go do it or not.
This is what Martin O'Neill said this afternoon before we come to you, Barry. He was asked, are Celtic riding high at the moment? This is really interesting, though. He's having a bit of a go at what happened last weekend.
I genuinely don't know that. I think that the games that we've had have been difficult, so I've not tried to analyse that much about it. You know, we've got over the line. We had our difficulties on last week. Well, we certainly had. We had a bit of a problem with VAR, we had a bit of a problem with a few decisions, particularly the first goal that we got. The linesman is about 4 yards off the pace of the game, but still wanted a flag for offside. Good, you know, don't know how you saw that, but anyway. And of course, we should have had a penalty when the fellow was, just pushed off the pitch. But I think that Old Firm game look after itself, I think.
He's coming out fighting, isn't he, ahead of it? And there's 3 games to go. He might as well.
Yeah, I think he's cute, Martin. He always just makes little comments, if you like, and just puts his message out. But he's done a great job, and it's now down to the last 3 games.
Sure is. Barry, you were with us live. We watched along. We were here on Monday night. A bitter blow for you and for the Rangers fans. What's your reflections on it now, on the game? I know it's gone, but what's Danny Rule learned from it? Because people are saying, look, Hearts made a change at half-time. Just that one change brought in another midfielder, and it worked.
Yeah, well, you need to learn to adapt if the opposition change. I think anybody that was watching the game, I don't think Hearts could be any poorer in the first half. So you knew Derek was going to get in at half-time. He was going to make changes. He made the change to go back to his trusted back 3. He was going to bring an extra midfielder in. Blair Spittle come on in the middle of the pitch, and just Rangers couldn't get to grips with it, Paul. And Hearts were very strong in the second half, and they end up deserved to win the game, which was bitterly disappointing because I thought probably the last 15-20 minutes of the first half, Rangers were on top. They couldn't get that second goal, but you know that it's going to be a different Hearts team in the second half, and just Rangers couldn't cope with it.
And what about the chat last night and today in the back of the paper that Wolfsburg are interested in Danny Rule? There's a few names in there, but he's apparently the number 1 contender for their job.
Yeah, interesting. Listen, it's a league that he always says that he wants to manage in, but at this moment in time, he's got a contract with Rangers and he's got 3 games to go, Paul, and I'm sure he says in his interview, pre-Celtic, that his full focus has to be on Rangers, and I would fully expect that because it's going to be so difficult for Rangers now, but at the end of the day, they're going to cross to Celtic Park against their fiercest rivals, and they need to try and put a performance on and get a result.
He's asked today about Scottish players. There was nobody on the pitch for Rangers on Monday night from Scotland.
I think it's for me not about Scottish player, not Scottish player. I think it's about to have the right players. They can deliver consistently under the highest pressure again and again. And I think for me, it doesn't matter which age it is, which culture, with from which country they're coming. For me, it's just important that they and that we, and this is important, we can deliver 90 minutes, not just a good performance, 90 minutes for a good result, and it means win.
Eric's on already saying, Barry, too many of the players don't get it.
Yeah, I think it is important that you have identity. There's no doubt in my mind about that. And I do firmly believe that there's players out there that, certainly Scottish players, that could do a job. I'm not saying they're going to be come in and be world beaters, but I do think it's important. And then when you watch the starting lineup come up, it's sad to see that there's no Scottish players in the starting 11. Always like to see 3 or 4 players and then build round about that, guys who really understand it and get it. I think it is important, but that's only my opinion. People might have different opinions, but I do think it's important that you do have players that understand the Scottish game and understand the demands and the expectations of a club like Rangers.
You said that today in the paper. If you're wearing that badge, you have to perform at a different level.
You have to, and if you don't perform, you're hit for a bit of criticism, but that's just the way it is at Rangers. You need to deal with it. It's not nice. I had to deal with it many a times as a player. I had to deal with it last year as a manager. But what it done to me, it just made me even stronger and more determined to try and make it better. And going back to the players, I do think it is important that Rangers do have that identity in the squad and certainly on the playing field.
Darren, what's your view on that? As somebody who came from Ireland, obviously a strong connection with Celtic, between Ireland and Celtic, but it's on these islands, the UK, the British Isles, that you've come from. Do you think this is a factor for Rangers?
It's a factor for Scottish football.
Right.
Celtic don't have enough players that are coming through. They have been led by Callum McGregor, James Forrest. These guys are clearly coming towards the end, whether that's now or it's 2-3 years' time. There's not enough done in Scottish football, so I don't put that to Danny Rowell for not having a Scottish player. I put that down to each individual club and actually the wider SFA, that there's not enough done. But listen, I could be here all night talking about the failings of younger players, but I absolutely agree with what's happening now is you're seeing a massive club in Rangers that don't have players coming through that understand what the club is. And it's not necessarily just on the pitch, but it's off the pitch. And it's when you go through difficult times, you need people that understand the kind of DNA of each club. And it's vitally important. Celtic have been, say, fortunate, credit to them for bringing certain players through, but they're fortunate that they still have Callum, James Forrest, Kieran Tierney. Once they pass, where's the next generation coming from?
Who is going to win it? What do you think? 08, 08, 17, 17, 700. It's basically a shootout now between Hearts, who would be the favourites, I would think, and Celtic. Rangers, they've got, I know it's a 1% chance, they're saying, Barry, and I heard
the
you.
supercomputer.
The supercomputer. Does it get it right? But listen, I heard what you said this morning. You're going to cling on to that, but you're not shouting about it because...
No, but you've got to have a bit of personal pride, professional pride. There's still 3 games to go. Look, it's very much looking that Rangers are not going to get there, because obviously the last couple of results have been really disappointing, but I would still have that bit between my teeth to finish off the season really strong, and it starts no harder place than Celtic Park on Sunday.
And of course, by then we'll know what happens. Motherwell, Hearts tomorrow with some great fans on the show last night. You know about it. We had quite a few people here from most of the clubs in the Premiership. We had a couple of Motherwell fans in as well, Hearts fans, Rangers, Celtic, so many of the clubs. And everyone was talking about, well, what's going to happen tomorrow night, the 8 o'clock kickoff. That'll be some attendance for Sky, won't it? And then it's the Scottish Classical, Celtic against Rangers. Martin O'Neill was asked today about this shootout now with the Jam Tarts.
You would have to say it's actually out of Rangers' hands. So from that viewpoint, that's probably the only thing that has changed. That's not to say that you would rule them out. If they beat us, got a result the night before, things like that there can happen. But at this minute, with the games running out, it's out of their hands.
Derek McInnes.
Delighted to pick it up. These awards are always nice and a good indication that the team's doing well. So hopefully we can continue to do well between now and the end of the season.
That's him as manager of the month, of course, and the manager of the year from Glens. He's won 2 of them. Is he going to win 3? If he wins the title, surely he will. Martin Neal's been speaking about Rangers for the game on Sunday.
Well, it's a no firm game, so I think that regardless of what the result was before that, I think that it'll be a strong Rangers side, but I think there'll be a big reaction as well too. So we've got to be ready for that ourselves. But the place will be rocky on Sunday. So, and the crowd at this minute seems a bit of unison within the club at the moment, which is good news. And the players have fed on that as well too. So it'll be strong.
Darren O'Dea, how big a thing is that now? You know, the Green Brigade are back in. The crowd will be there. They'll be in full voice.
Yeah, it was against Falkirk. It was a huge difference. And I think if Celtic were in full flow, playing the best football, I wouldn't say it doesn't matter because it absolutely does, but they can get through games this season. They're going to rely on the crowd, the energy of it. They don't have loads of control in game. They're playing with just that kind of energy that Martin has brought to them. So I think that's if Celtic are to win the league, that's going to be a massive difference. I do think though Hearts been first up. This is the biggest game for Hearts now because if they can win going into a game against Rangers, you've Motherwell for Celtic. Hearts have Falkirk at home. I don't know. I think if Hearts were to beat Motherwell, they have taken a massive step towards winning the league.
And do you think they will?
Yeah, it'd be hard to write them off.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to write them off to say they haven't been great away from home, but I think they'll have enough to get over the line. Yeah,
4,000 Hearts fans are going to be there.
I agree with Dan that this is a massive. Look, they're all massive games, but this is a big test, and it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to the game. 2 totally different styles of play. You know, everybody has seen what Motherwell have done to Rangers and Celtic at Fir Park, and even away from home, they've been excellent. Yeah, this is a big test, but I'm sure. Look, Derek came through a big test on Monday. Even the week before, I know Hibs went down to 9 men, but they showed good character. They come back and get the 2-1 victory over Hibs. But this is, I think, if Hearts get a win tomorrow, there's a real good chance. I think they could be champions.
And yet Ian and Michael, the Motherwell fans last night, were saying don't discount Motherwell for both games. Tomorrow, against Hearts, and then against Celtic midweek.
I'm sure Dan will agree with me. Motherwell were going to have a big say in this. They were. Whether it was away from home or at home at Fir Park, they're a good team. I was at the game when they travelled to Ibrox a couple of weeks ago, and I've got to be honest with you, the first half they were outstanding. Then Rangers got a foothold in the game, but again, they showed good character to come back and get that win on the end. Very good counter-attack, and they take chances, but they're just playing with an air of confidence about them. And this will be a tough one for Hearts, and I'm sure it will be a tough one for Celtic next weekend.
Pressure, could it come into it? The pressure's off for Motherwell in a way, although they want to come fourth. Of course they do. Do you think that's going to be a factor?
For Motherwell?
For both of them.
I agree. Yeah. I think Motherwell will play with freedom. I think, of course, there's pressure, but nowhere near the level of what Hearts, Celtic, you could argue Rangers as well are under. But yeah, I totally agree with Barry. They're going to play a massive role in who becomes champions. And I think if Hearts were to go and win there, I would be seriously confident saying I think Hearts will win the league.
There's Darren O'Dea saying it would be Hearts. Let's go on the lines. Quite a few calls coming in. 0808 17 17 700. Ross is on, a Celtic fan. Good evening, Ross.
Hi, Paul, Darren and Barry. Hope you guys are doing well.
How you doing,
Hi,
Ross?
Good form.
I'm nervous, Barry. That's why I'm nervous.
I imagine what I've been like the last couple of weeks. Jesus.
I'm looking forward to the game obviously on Sunday. These games are you can never tell either way. Form goes out the window. I firmly believe that. But I think, Paul, just what you said, I think if Hearts win the game on Saturday night, I think it's hard for Celtic to come back for that. But I think if Hearts were to drop it in the night before we play Rangers, then I firmly believe I think Celtic will be fired up on Sunday to go. But I just think in terms of the mindset going into Sunday's game, if Hearts win, I think it's going to be hard, I think, for Celtic to find any kind of motivation to go and think they'll win the league at that point. I don't know if Darren agrees with that.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Maybe not motivation, but I think the pressure will just absolutely mount. Yeah, I totally agree. I said it just there. I think if Hearts win that game against Motherwell, you're 6 points going into the game against Rangers, and it just has a different feel to it. Albeit you've added to it, the optimistic side of it would be if Hearts were to drop points. Yeah, I would actually really, really fancy Celtic to go and get the job done. So people, I hear it all the time. And by the way, I would have said the same thing. Oh, you can only concentrate on yourselves. Trust me, you watch what the other teams are doing. I did it every game in my career. You'd be watching the Rangers result before. And I remember if they were the early kick-off and they were one each, and then all of a sudden they get a 95th minute or 95th minute winner or something, it affects your mood. Likewise, if it was an equaliser, you know when you're going into your game, it affects your mood. So I think that result, Hearts at Motherwell, will have a huge bearing on Sunday.
What's the Martin O'Neill factor here, though, Barry? You know him so well. You played against him. You had some good days, some not so good days. But he is a big part of this story. And it could be that he wins the league and wins a double. What about Martin O'Neill?
He has mean that I've watched many of Celtic games, and let's be honest, I don't think they've played particularly well. But he finds a way to win games of football, and that's the most important thing in the game. And he's made a huge difference to a Celtic team that is probably the weakest I've seen in a number of years. But it's been down to him. He's come in. Yep, they've had a bump or two, but they've always come back from it. And if he wasn't there, I don't think they would win with any shout with 3 games to go. So a lot of it's got to go down to the Martin O'Neill factor. There's no doubt in my mind about that.
Ross, did you hear the other day? Hearts apparently spent 19 million. I think it's this in wages. The last year, the most available figures, 19 million. Rangers 58 million. Celtic, I think it was 73 million. And I wonder if at some point Martin says to the team, "Look, you're the champions, the defending champions. You're going to give it up again." And I know it's not just about the money, but a reminder that the track record, and go out and win the next 3 games and start to score more goals to make a dent. And I know it's against Rangers, but start to make a dent on it, to get over that psychological fact about, well, Hearts are effectively an extra point ahead because of goals.
Yeah, I think in terms of this season, Paul, Darren and Barry will know this well. Celtic, I don't think I've been. I can't think of a game this season where we've scored any more than 5 or 6 goals in the one game. And the Celtic play before, under Ange and stuff, and under Brendan, it was free flowing and goal scoring, and just honestly, I think if Hearts win their games and Celtic win their games, and obviously Hearts are 3 points ahead going into the last game of the season, I don't see Celtic clawing back that goal difference. That's my concern. I think for me, we really need Hearts taking a drop something on Saturday night. I don't think they'll lose to Falkirk at home. So I think, I think if Hearts do win on Saturday, it pains me to say it, but I don't see Celtic clawing that back, Paul. And part of me thinks, in a way where Hearts have been the best team in the league by far, and just based on Scottish football, I think Hearts do deserve to win the league this year. But obviously with the Celtic glasses on, you kind of really want Celtic to win it for Martin O'Neill. But I think if Hearts were to kick on and win the league, I don't think anybody could have any issues with that. I don't think there would be anybody that would put up a fight against it.
Yeah, I think I've seen something. It was a few weeks ago now that Celtic are about 50 goals shy of where they were last season.
Right.
So that tells you one thing, that you're absolutely right. They're lacking goals, or compared to what they were. And the second thing was they played against 10 men Hibs for three quarters of the game, and won 2-1. And albeit they deserved to win, they didn't look like they were going to bury kind of 5-6 past Hibs, and they were basically defending on the edge of their box. So I'd agree with you. I think they need Hearts to drop points, because I don't think they will be clawing back that goal difference.
And how can you win the league, Barry, if you don't have a striker? I recognise. Maid's been great last season. The goals. Ian actually doesn't play much.
It's been an issue for Celtic. Everybody can see that the number 9 position has been a real struggle this season. You need a number 9 that's going to score you 20 plus goals. There's no doubt in my mind. And that's been a real problem for Celtic. And then the flip side of that, you look at Rangers, look at the 3 players that were there last year, Dessers, Czerny and Eagleman. 60 plus goals you've took out of the team.
Would you have kept Dessers? Do you think he would have stayed?
100%.
So he would have stayed. Czerny was coming.
I would have kept Dessers 100%.
Czerny?
Yeah, no brainer for the price.
Was he going to come? think the deal there was a deal to be
I'd have
done.
dragged
Wasn't
them.
there? Yeah, and of course Lawrence Shankland. Whatever happened to him? I mean, how you will feel
Well, do
Barry
you know
next
what?
week?
Watching the game, and I think if you asked Lawrence himself, he wasn't really involved. But listen, he worked really hard. But he comes up with big moments.
Boom. Yeah.
Bang, cut back, and the finish was top class. Dan's right. It was, and that's what he brings you. He can have quiet games, but what he does is he produces big moments.
It sure does. Yeah, that'll be some moment, Barry, if you see him lift the trophy a week on Saturday. The man that would have been playing for you,
Nobody some moment for me.
I just mean some moment to think about what could have been if it wasn't the year of the bluffers.
Listen, everybody's going on about Rangers, but even from a Celtic point of view, why would you not take
Absolutely
the chance?
Yeah.
I don't even think it's a chance or a gamble on Lawrence Shankland. You know what you're getting. I think he's became a better all-round player over the last year or two, and he does the hardest thing in football.
I just think number 9s these days, there's like it's like goals aren't enough.
Aye.
Then you have to do more.
Yeah.
Well, no.
No, I agree with you.
You score goals, you score goals.
Ross, if you don't win the title, you know whose fault it is? I'm sitting next to him, Darren O'Dea, because as you know, probably when he was at Swansea.
Oh, don't say that
Yeah,
again.
but it's true. I mean, at the end of the transfer window, and he got Adam Ida, who of course had scored 20 goals last season, and not that many starts. I mean,
your fault, Darren.
No, but it just shows you at the club what were they thinking about. And there's quite a few fans, Celtic fan Anne Marie's on, saying, look, maybe it's a message to the board if Celtic don't win it. She would love them to win it, but not as much as she normally would. And are you hearing that from other Celtic fans who are saying, look, if it's going to be someone else, it should be Hearts then, but the board need to get the finger out for next season?
Yeah, I think in terms of the Celtic fans' point of view, Paul, we do want to win the league, obviously, but I think just what Anne-Marie said there, I think if Celtic do win the league, that would probably say to the board, look, we don't need to go and spend loads of money, then we've won the league. But I think in terms of just from a football fan's point of view, I just want Celtic to win it just for the fact that being a Celtic fan. But for me, I think in the summer, I don't know if Darren agrees here, but I would actually go down the road and try to maybe nick the boy Braga for Hearts. I think he would be a right good player for Celtic, and I think when you watch him this season, he reminds me a wee bit of Kyogo. He makes a runs, or he's just an absolute nuisance up front for defenders, and I think he would really, really do well at Celtic in terms of him coming in. I don't know if Darren would agree with that.
I'd agree that he is a player that would improve Celtic's front line, but you've absolutely no chance of him actually coming, purely for the fact that Hearts will never sell him to Celtic at any price that's doable. But in terms of that type of player and that quality of player, that's up to Celtic to go and find him before he goes to Hearts, if you like. But yeah, there's no chance Braga will come to Celtic, I would say.
Ross, who's going to win tomorrow, Motherwell or Hearts? Or a draw? What do you think?
I think
quick verdict.
I think honestly, Paul, I'd agree with Barry and Darren. I don't see Hearts dropping tomorrow. I think Hearts will be fully focused in the job.
Yeah, 3 points.
I think. Sorry.
A win for Hearts.
A win for Hearts.
A win for Hearts.
Tomorrow,
And what about the game? You'll be there on Sunday. Who's going to win?
I can honestly see it being a draw, if I'm being honest, because I think Rangers are obviously still got pride to play for, and I think they'll go out on Sunday wanting to kind of get the bragging rights. So I fully expect Rangers to be at it as well as Celtic, but I just think this season, in terms of the Old Firm games, it's hard to call, but I think there'll be a point on Sunday. I see Celtic drawn.
What, 3-3? 0-0.
I don't know about that, Paul.
All right, Ross, thanks so much for your call. 0808 17 700. Enjoy the weekend.
The Go Radio Football Show with Scottish Gas.
How quickly football changes. Danny Rule narrowed the gap from 13 points. At the moment, Rangers, of course, on 69, Celtic 73, and Hearts top of the table on 76. And clearly that could widen if Celtic beat Rangers at the weekend. Listen, a lot could happen. It could go the other way. Rangers and Celtic or Hearts could be battling for second position. This is the unique thing. It's a season like no other. But there's speculation that Wolfsburg in the Bundesliga want Danny Röhl as their next manager. He was asked about it today.
There's a lot of rumors. I think I look back last year with how many clubs I was linked. I could get maybe 20 jobs in the newspaper. But no, generally, my full focus is on Rangers. I think even the last couple of days, our conversations with the board, with the club, goes just in one direction: how we can win titles with the club in the future.
Meanwhile, here there's been some Rangers fans saying it's time for Danny to go. He was asked, has he been fully backed by the board?
Well, I'm fully committed. I feel it every day, the support. I feel the conversations we had, we spoke so much about what we want to change for the summer, and all in all, I feel that I'm in the right place with the right people, with a lot of motivation, positive energy to bring this club not just to a one-hit wonder, back to a consistently club who can win titles in a row. And I think this is also important to understand. A one-hit wonder for us, it's nice, but what we are looking for is that you consistently play for the title again and again. And this is my job, this is our job, and this is why I'm looking forward.
Barry, where do you stand on Danny Röhl? Difficult one in some ways because you were there as an interim manager, but you've been fully supportive of him. But, you know, you're a Rangers legend. You're desperate for Rangers to start winning big trophies.
Yeah, what I will say is I think he would have learnt so much over the last 6 months in terms of what the Scottish game's all about, and also what's in the building in terms of the players. I know he brought in 4 players in the January window. So, listen, he's done a good job in terms of getting Rangers back into a title fight, but when it really mattered, they've faltered over the last couple of games, and that's something that I'm sure he'll be frustrated and disappointed with. And that's something that he knows he has to change going forward, because Rangers have to be challenging right for the word go in all fronts, in terms of not just the league, but the League Cup, the Scottish Cup as well.
He sounded really confident there on the board.
It sounds to me
backing.
that he's happy where he is, and obviously I would hazard a guess that they've started chats in terms of where they want to strengthen and who they want to bring in. And it's not just about bringing in. You've got to remember, there's a lot of loan players that are going to go back to their clubs. There's also players that are going to come back off of loans, like guys like Danilo and Cortez, and you've got guys that are not even in the squad, like Rami, etc. So there's a lot of work to be done at Rangers this summer.
He was asked about, does he need a rebuild? Well, we know he's only had one transfer window. You mentioned the players who are in. This is what he said today.
Yeah, I would say since I'm here, we start to rebuild and to bring new players in. I think, and I take it not as an excuse, but very important, and this is what I took also from my time in Munich, to win titles, you have to be on point in April and May. I think this is very crucial. And when we look to ourselves at the moment, we are not in every position on our highest level what we should be. And this is, unfortunately, you have with Thür and Ryan, for example, 2 key players in a moment out where it should be not. You have with Mikey, since 6 weeks, we manage him that he comes through. Difficult. Dušan, all the small pieces, exactly in these 5 games in the split, you have to be on point. And I take it not as again, as an excuse, but you look into the full picture, and then you think, yeah, maybe these are exactly these 2 small details now to take it and to bring it at the end.
Barry, do you think at the moment Rangers have had the strongest squad in the league? I know that since the split, you know, the optics have changed, but a couple of weeks ago people said Rangers are in form, maybe the best squad.
Listen to the manager speak there. What that tells me is he's not happy with certain positions within the team, and he wants to go and strengthen it. Yep, you're going to suffer injuries, whether it's at the start of the season, middle of the season, or towards the end of the season. That's just part of the game. You have to deal with it. But what that tells me is, I'll go back to his answer there saying that he wants to strengthen certain areas of the pitch where he doesn't think they're strong enough to be really challenging. And when it really matters, and that's April and May, that's the business end of the season. That's when you've got to really produce the goods. And over the last couple of games, unfortunately, they've not done that.
Where are they short, Barry?
How
I
long
know.
you can.
How long have we got? Yeah.
Although I think you've always got to look to strengthen all over the pitch. I mean, right through the spine of the team, I still think, obviously, the centre-back, Giga's going to go. John Shooter's been out of the team. Cornelius is a lone player. He's not been really involved. The only one that's there is Fernandez, but there's a lot of clamour about clubs coming in and
Big money.
yeah, really interested in him. So I would hazard a guess that he's looking to strengthen all positions because you need real competition for places. There's no doubt in my mind about that. If you want to be a successful team, you need to have 2 players for every position.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think Rangers and Celtic have similar issues where I look at the number 9, Dimitri, that's come in for a huge fee. And listen, he's shown that he clearly has potential. I think he's just got a dozen goals, is it? Dozen goals. Like, he can't be part of a Rangers title-winning team. He has a dozen goals as the number 9. Now, listen, he could come good. There's potential there. I think the two Celtic and Rangers, totally agree with Barry. He'll know the team inside out, but the front end of the pitch, you've got to have people that are scoring goals, that are affecting games. I think both teams lack that. I think Scott Olsen as well, he's not quite lived up to it. Mikey Moore, in fairness, has been. Was he an 18-year-old kid?
I agree with you. You need to have the top end of the pitch. You need to be coming up, producing the goods on a regular basis, consistently, and that's not been the case for Rangers or Celtic. And look, I like the way buying potential and working with them and making a lot of money off them. But I firmly believe now that Rangers need to bring in people that are ready to go now, that know the game, that have got that experience. So I think that will be key for Rangers in the summer.
He was asked about the mentality. That has come up a lot about Rangers, not just under Danny Rule, for the last year or two. This is what he said this afternoon.
When we speak just about mentality, we will not move forward in the future. I think this is a part of, if we look a little bit back and we are honest to each other, in the last 15 years, we didn't win what we should do. And I think this is a big part what we have to change. And for this, we have to make, a lot of things better. And it starts to set new standards. I think in the last 6 months, we improved the standards higher and higher. In the last 7 days, we couldn't. And I think this is a big part in our future. Set new standards, and it means we have to change things in this building. I think this is crucial. We have to play not just 45 minutes good football and successful football, we have to change it to 90 minutes to dominate the game. And all these things, makes me really convinced that we can do this in the next time together. And I'm looking forward. I think I was disappointed after the game because if you want 6 months hard work, effort, positivity, I think everyone here in this room outside was totally convinced we go in the split and we have a big chance. And this is also a part now. Why is the disappointment so hard and so tough to accept? But from this point, we move now forward, and it gives me, especially also for the new season, a big motivation to be better every day, increase the standards, and make the step forward what we want.
Darren's on Rangers. Barry, sorry, when you go.
Yeah, if it's me, I'd be in the market for leaders, guys who are mentally strong and tough. Because it's not just about, listen, you need to be a good player, but you need to sit down and you need to go dive into their background, and if they've been to places where they've been under pressure. So I think that's key. That's what I'd be looking at to get in guys that are mentally strong, mentally tough, with good experience.
Darren's been on, and a few others saying, Barry, will he be there next season, do you think? I'll play one.
It sounds like it, because he's obviously, there's always going to be interest, there's always going to be rumours, because he has spoke before about Germany, and as soon as a job comes up, he's obviously going to get linked with it. But listen to him there, he's obviously talking to the people above, where he believes that he needs to strengthen going forward.
What about his future? He was asked today.
From my side, of course, 100%. I'm convinced I chose the club with the reason to bring him back to success, to win titles. I think this is also part from our club. A good process is not enough. Yeah, a good process is for us not what we want. We want to have titles, and for this we have to change things. Like I said, we set standards, but the standards we have to increase, and if we do this, then we have a chance.
Darren, what do you think? There's so many moving parts in a football club, isn't there? And he's come in, he's had a load of praise. Barry was saying that, and he's called him today in the record. But you have to take it at times like this when it is tough. 2 defeats after the split.
Yeah, I think in a logical world, he's come in. They were absolutely, I wouldn't say rock bottom, but not far off it. And he's took them back to a point where they've had a sweat on. But they've not quite got there when the split has come. So I think in a logical world, you think, right, he's due time, another window, and let's see what he can do next season. The reality is, in a logical world, that doesn't exist in Glasgow. And you have to land in the big moments. And so far, it's not quite happened. The mentality thing, look at Arsenal down south. You've got 50, 60, 100 million pound players that are getting questioned about their mentality. The only way of shutting that up is winning. So the reality is, it doesn't look like it's going to be this season. In a logical world, you give him another window and you go, right, go for it next year, because we've seen enough progress, if you like. But the reality is, up here, you don't win leagues and you even get close. People don't worry about the work. And he's touched on it. He said the process. Up here, it's about winning. And at the minute, it's not quite happened. But as a coach as well, I would like to see he gets more time, because ultimately he has actually done a decent job.
Decent job, Barry. Is that the lowest you've felt? Quite a few Rangers fans are on saying they watched the programme, listened the other night, and I think it's almost like the hope that kills you, isn't it? You think, right, Rangers.
Yeah, I just think when you're in a position, and I expected a reaction. You got it for a part of the first half. There was no doubt Rangers were on top. They couldn't get the second goal, but that happens in football. But you need to readjust, and you've got to know what's coming round the corner. You know Hearts are going to come out a different team. And I was flat after the game, because I expected more. When you've got a lead, keep a hold of it. Don't let it go too easily. And I thought that was the case when Hearts equalised. Hearts just became stronger and stronger, and unfortunately they got that winning goal. And overall it was certainly a difficult night.
And you said the first 10, 15 minutes crucial.
I thought both teams were really edgy.
Yeah.
And then the game obviously always settles down a wee bit, and Rangers got a foothold in it. They got the goal, and then they kind of controlled it, not with being like over dominant, but they were the better team. But as I said, there shouldn't be any surprises what's going to be coming out in the second half when that whistle. You heard Derek, he was just desperate for the half-time whistle, desperate to get them inside. And I know he's not going on about tactically and all that, but it did make a difference going to a back three. That's what they're really comfortable with. And that extra guy in the middle of the pitch, and their 2 wing backs playing really high up, and getting Lon Shanklin and Braga feeding them balls into the box, and that's when Hearts are really dangerous. But you've got to stand up to that. You've got to understand that's what's coming, and I just don't think Rangers dealt with it as good as they should have. 3
games to go. Anything could happen. I want to find out your teams for the weekend, your selection if you were in charge, or what do you think Danny Rule will do? What's Martin O'Neill going to do? We'll hear more from him. We're going to hear from you. 0808 17 17 700.
The Go Radio Football Show with Scottish Gas.
Very happy birthday to one of our former colleagues, Barry, one of your, not a teammate, but he was there before your time, a Celtic legend, Davy Provan, 70 years young today. So congratulations, Davy. Amazing. We enjoyed working with him, didn't we?
Listen, Davy was a top pundit. I remember him obviously with Sky Sports, co-commentating. I thought he was a brilliant commentator, and now he's living a life in Spain.
He sure is, yeah.
I'm sure he's having a few cold ones as we speak.
Yeah. You seen the pictures when he had the curly hair?
Aye.
When he was playing in Celtic. What a winger he was, wasn't he? One of the best.
Yeah, no, I have to admit, he's a little bit before my
I know,
time.
yeah.
But no, obviously I've heard
You've got YouTube.
really good. Yeah, really good things. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed listening to him when he was on TV.
Of course, and he scored that equaliser in the 100th Scottish Cup final against Dundee United. Celtic were struggling deep into the second half. He scored the goal, and then it was Frank McGarvey, his last touch of the ball as a Celtic striker. So,
Can't remember it.
Barry did a message for him. I did a message, and a load of the guys as well. I got Roy Aitken a few weeks ago at Hampden, and he recreated the scene.
I worked with Roy at Birmingham. He was assistant manager for a year before he went to Dubai with David O'Leary. He was he was a really good coach, Roy Aitken.
What about last night? Super John McGinn, 2 of the goals for Villa. They're in the final.
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely delighted to see it. He's just done so well. Yeah, absolutely brilliant, and that manager as well, Unai Emery's something else. So, not delighted to see John scored a couple of goals and he's captain the side.
Barry, what do you
think?
I
watched the game last night. The atmosphere sounded electric. 2 really good teams going at it, and I agree with Dan. Emery, what a record he's got in that cup competition. And obviously John McGinn hitting a bit of form just before the World Cup. That's good news for Scotland.
I heard Gabby saying this morning in Talk Sport, he thinks that's the best he's ever seen him. He absolutely loves him. And he is some player, isn't he? For sure. John,
he had the injury, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So he's probably now got up to full fitness and doesn't have what most Premier League players have is the fatigue of going through the full season European campaign. So it's absolutely brilliant for Scotland.
It's brilliant for Scotland, isn't it? As we count down, just over 30 days to the World Cup. Can't remember exactly, but 33 days or something, Barry. It's going to be amazing. Palace got to the final as well, of course. Yep. And Arsenal, Mikel Arteta, your old teammate, 20 years after they last won. Well, they didn't win it. They got to the final, of course, against Barcelona.
I watched the game. Yep. Obviously, Arsenal coming up against Atletico. They're a strong team, but Arsenal thought deserved to go through. It'd be interesting to see what one he would rather win, the Champions League or the Premier League.
Premier League, I would have thought. What do you think?
I would probably say that.
Darren?
Yeah, I'll go Premier League just because the league is always what you'd want to win, but my God, it wouldn't be bad to win a Champions League either.
And PSG, what a team there. Yeah. I honestly love watching Bayern Munich as well. That was a brilliant game. The first leg 5-4.
Incredible.
And you would think somebody defending, but the defending was actually, it was the goals that were high quality. But 2 unbelievable teams, and that'll be a again similar to the game. I'm not saying similar to the game, but I'm talking about Motherwell Hearts, 2 different setups, styles, and that's the same with Arsenal and PSG.
Yeah, it's going to be some atmosphere though in Glasgow.
I can't believe I'm putting Motherwell and Hearts up like
Champions League final.
We know what you mean. It's context and everything. Martin O'Neill, so there'll be 60,000 at Celtic Park. There'll be 2,400 Rangers fans there, 58,000 Celtic fans. What about the atmosphere as you're looking forward to this special game?
Well, I probably played it down, and maybe I wasn't sure when I came in here first of all, and there obviously was a bit of ill feeling at the time, and there didn't seem a united football club. Yeah, and I said I wasn't sure that the likes of it affected Maeda or Hatate or people like that. But no, there's no doubt at all about it. The crowd, in full voice for a start, cheering the team on, even allowing for mistakes of which we inevitably make. I think that's been very, very positive, and I think it's rubbed off on the players.
The fans so important.
Yeah, you just touched on it. It's like it was maybe last season, certainly this season, and it's been well documented the reasons why. But it made a massive difference to the Falkirk game, especially when it went when Falkirk got a goal back. There was a calmness to it, and they just went and obviously got the job done. So it'll play a vital part. And you can picture if it goes to the last game, like that place will be absolutely bouncing. You'd want to be at home. So Martin's totally right. The fact that it's unified now is only going to aid Celtic's chances. What's
the word on Dyson Maeda, who sort of hobbled off last weekend?
Yeah, Dyson's he hurt himself towards the end of the game. He's fine. No, he's trained today. He's got no reaction, and so he's going to be fine. He's got his goals from pressing and getting important goals for us in matches. Yeah, he's had a super couple of weeks.
And Barry, he was asked today, so Rangers coming to town for him. It's his first time in over 20 years when he last faced your team at Parkhead.
20 years, yeah, long time. Really looking forward to the game. Yeah, just all fair match, plenty to play for. Always seems to be as well too, but particularly now coming to towards this the back end of the season.
All the chat goes out the window, doesn't it, about who's going to come first, second, about it's winning the 90 minutes.
Yeah, it's you're both fierce rivals. You want to get one over your fiercest rival. So yeah, to be fair, I always look forward to it, and it'd be better if Rangers had won a couple of games and there'd be a real edge to it. But there's still got to be an edge from Rangers. You're going across to Celtic Park, and you want to. I expect and I better see a reaction. That's what I'm wanting to see at 12 o'clock on Sunday, because I'm sure the Celtic fans will be trying to drive their team on, but Rangers need to show and stand up to what's going to come at them, because I believe that Celtic are just going to go for it, for the word go. There's no doubt in my mind about that.
Yeah, as I said, I'm not proud of it, but because you obviously ultimately lost the title, but I've played in one of these games where you knew it was for nothing, and I remember the feeling of it. It didn't actually make a difference how you felt before the game. Obviously, maybe in the lead up, it wasn't quite as tense, but ultimately, when you arrive to these games, you cannot be given an inch.
How do you keep your nerve in a game like that, Darren? In the Old Firm game,
I'm the best asking Barry. I wasn't great at holding my nerve at anything. I went into the game, I'll be totally honest, I went into the game and I wasn't someone that visualised so much about making good passes, or it was about hitting people and trying to win physically. I knew in those games you're going to have to hurt to kind of have any chance. Obviously, when Barry was playing, some of the players you were playing against were top players. So I wasn't so much a player that visualised kind of playing particularly well. It was more stopping people. And
who were you trying to stop? Give us a few of the names.
Steve Davis was always awkward because he was one that I could get near probably. He used to play off the right, but he'd drift inside. He had loads of different players. Stephen Naismith. Sometimes I played centre back. There was some brilliant players. Like I look back, and it was Barry, Pedro Mendes in the middle of the pitch. You'd obviously Lee McCulloch, and then David Weir at the back, Papach, all these guys. So I didn't go into the games really visualising how to play the game. It was more how you could try dominate your direct opponent, but ultimately if everyone did that, I'll always look back and I think there's markers put down in these games. They don't happen quite as much now. Celtic was Barry Robson, but I even remember the year we lost the league, Rangers won it. Kevin Thompson, I remember Kevin Thompson hitting Robbie Keane early doors in Ibrox. I remember that. And we all remembered that. So that was something, even though we knew we couldn't win the league, it was, you put down a mark early in the game. It doesn't exist much nowadays, I don't think, but certainly that's the way I think
that's
about
key,
it.
Like I was always in the mindset and would always say to players, you need to lay down a marker early doors. You need to stamp your authority on the game, and certainly back then it was a lot more physical. You don't, Darren's right, you don't see that as much.
You're not like
you've
to,
got to be careful. You've got to be careful as well with VAR, because you could get away with some things back then. You only get away with it now. But they're special games. I don't care what anybody says. It's not just because I've played in it, and I'm sure Darren will agree. It's the best game by a country mile. There's a lot of nerves. If somebody says I'm not nervous going into it, I was always nervous, always. And as I said, they're special occasions. Tensions run high. Everything goes on, but it's just a special game of football.
We're building up to it in the next hour. 0808 17 17 700.
Football show with Scottish Gas. Watch live at 5 p.m. weekdays on YouTube. Join the conversation on 0808 17 17 700. Talking Scottish football first.
Hour 2, we're underway. Loads of calls coming in. What a weekend it's going to be. And it kicks off tonight. Dunfermline are up at Arbroath. And of course, they're a goal ahead. Chris Kane, what a strike. What an age he is, but he did so well, didn't he?
It was a great goal. Through his legs, wee dummy. Great pass through, good finish. But that's still on the knife edge, that game.
Who do you fancy? What do you think?
I still think Dunfermline have got enough, but it's never easy. MD's been to Arbroath, going up there. I mean, you might catch it in a good night,
Yeah.
but generally it's a tough place to go. The weather's generally not the best up there, and they've done another great job. Arbroath.
part-time.
I mean, part-time, getting into the playoffs again. But if you're asking me, if you're putting me on the spot, I would go Dunfermline.
I agreed. I'm just laughing at a good night in Arbroath. There's probably 70 mile an hour winds. But yeah, I think Dunfermline will go over the line, but that's definitely not easy.
What an end to the season it could be for, well, it will be anyway for Neil Lennon with the cup final just a couple of weeks
he's
away.
done absolutely great.
Right, we're going back on the lines immediately. Gary's on in the Gorbals. Hi, Gary. Good evening.
Evening, Paul. Evening, guys.
Hiya, Gary.
Good to hear you. So, how are you feeling? Twists and turns, you know how it stands. What are you thinking ahead of the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, going into the run-in, obviously 3 games to go. The nerves are absolutely ripping out, mate, and have been probably for a couple of weeks since the start of the split. But we are playing a lot better, obviously. We could be tightening up at the back still. I think Falkirk obviously found a few weaknesses, and then obviously with Hibs getting the goal at Easter Road, obviously the goal which shouldn't have stood, but like the defensive weaknesses were still showing. So that kind of worries me for Sunday, to be honest. And the fact that we've not won in 6 league games against Rangers obviously worries me, but I'm hoping it's going to be lucky number 7. And in terms of a team, obviously, I think probably back to kind of middle it picks itself, just in terms of, I'm thinking wide left and up front, I'm probably kind of switching between a few options.
Yeah.
We're going to get yours. We'll get yours, Darren, and then we'll see what Barry thinks and also what Gary feels. What's your Celtic lineup?
I'll literally take what Gary just said. Okay. I think it'll be the exact same team as Hibs, from Sinisalo, Alistair Johnson, Trusty, Scales, Tierney, Callum McGregor, Negron, Engels, and then this is where the only debate for me comes up. I think it'll be Yang off the right, Dyson Maeda through the middle, and off the left it's a toss-up between, I think it'll probably be Tonetki, but you could go James Forrest. That's the only one, I think.
And why Tonetki?
If I was picking, I'd probably go with James Forrest.
He just hasn't done enough, has he?
No. I've said it before. I do think he'll come good. He just needs a little bit more confidence. I think at times he just looks a little bit nervy with it to take on risk. And ultimately, if you want to play the front end for Celtic, you have to take on the risk that he isn't. But I do think he'll come good. But for Sunday, I would go with James Forrest personally.
Barry, this time last year, you were getting ready to face Celtic at Celtic Park. What do you think of Darren's team? And would that be your Celtic lineup? Yeah,
I mean, definitely until you get up the top, it's who's going to play through the middle. Yeah. And Iacho and Maeda, I probably think he will go with Maeda. If you look at the 2 centre backs at Rangers, they're very big. They're not as mobile, and you know what Maeda's like. He doesn't give you a minute's peace. I think that's the only who's going to play the number 9. But if he goes with Iacho, then Maeda will go in the left hand side.
And I want to get Gary's team, but will James Tavernier play?
Yes.
Or he will play?
Yeah.
Gary, what's your Celtic lineup then?
Yeah, so basically the same as Darren's, only I've kind of plumped between Forrest and Sriracha actually. I like Sriracha in that kind of role, and it'll be interesting to see if he would consider playing him in that role. I mean, James Forrest for me obviously is better in off the right, but obviously that's Yang's position. You can't switch those two. For me, I think maybe starting the game, you could maybe go with Dyson Maeda up against Tav and run at him and see how he is, kind of thing. Maybe put Kelechi up front in that instance, but then again, I don't think Iheanacho's maybe going to have 90 minutes in him in that kind of environment. So I think he probably would be better coming off the bench. So I've kind of went with Forrest. I'd probably go with Forrest out left and Dyson up front, because I think Dyson, the difference in him in the last 5 games has been extraordinary. So you wouldn't 3 goals, 2 assists.
Yeah, you've summarised it really well, Gary. That Iheanacho doesn't have, well, arguably in 45 minutes. Well, that's obviously going off what Martin O'Neill is doing with him. He's bringing him off the bench. Clearly, he's a really talented footballer. But I do think he'll come off the bench. And Celtic's goals recently have come from regains, and it's largely been Dyson Maeda just chasing people down. So I think he will stay through the middle. But
if they start at pace at 90 miles an hour to go for it, would you not start maybe with Maeda on the left up against Tavernier?
But then you don't have, who do you bring off the bench? I know you say I don't think you can start at the speed Celtic want to start at if you play with Iheanacho through the middle, because he can't run.
Just not there. Yeah,
Can't run. He's a fantastic footballer, but he can't.
Sure. You could see that last week against Hibs. He was sloppy, wasn't he? When he wasn't in position.
He's just not. He's just not. Listen, it's not a criticism. It's just fact. Yeah. He cannot play at the intensity they want to kind of go after the game at.
Barry, who would you fear? Maybe that's too strong a word, but if you were in the Rangers dugout, who would you not want to see up front for Celtic?
Maeda, probably. Yep. I would go totally different against Celtic, but I would hazard the guess he'll still go with a back four. But I would go totally different.
What would you do then?
I'd go with a back three.
Yeah,
I would go with Sterling, Giga and Fernandes.
Sterling, right.
The two wing backs would be Tav and Romans. Midfield three of Connor Barron, Dio and Nico, and then I would play Chermiti up alongside Mikey Moore, just floating around a bit.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't think he'll go like that.
We see Celtic will definitely set up to play against the back four. So by doing something completely different, it would potentially throw everything out the window.
He'll be listening. Would he do it? Listen, he must think of it as well. It worked for you.
I just sometimes, but sometimes you've got to surprise the opponent. And I like to do that sometimes, but I don't know if he'll go. But I think he'll go with Sterling at right back, because I think he might think Maeda might play on the left. And I'd push Tav one up.
Right. And do you think he'll do that?
No.
He won't. So Tav would be on the bench for Danny Rule.
Yeah, I think he might go with Sterling at right back instead of Tav. Yeah. But as I said, I would go against Celtic in a different way.
Gary,
I would tend to go man to man at the back with him.
Gary, what do you think of Barry's lineup if he went with three at the back?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised, to be honest. Obviously, going to Celtic Park in that kind of atmosphere, knowing, listen, all the pressure's on Celtic. I'd be maybe, even I don't know what he thinks about it, but throwing maybe Gisama in there somewhere as well. But as I say, for me, I think they'll actually go unchanged from Monday night against Hearts, even though they end up losing the game. I think they'll be probably the team largely that started against Hearts.
Scott Olsen as well.
At Celtic Park. Yeah,
I think Romans will come in.
Yeah.
Romans will definitely come in and get a part of the game against Hearts, Gary. So he's been a big player. He's been one of the major plus points.
Here's what Martin O'Neill said, Gary, about the opposition, about Rangers.
Well, it's a no firm game, so I think that regardless of what the result was before that, I think that it'll be a strong Rangers side, but I think there'll be a big reaction as well too. So we've got to be ready for that ourselves. But the place will be rocky on Sunday. So, and the crowd at this minute seems a bit of unison within the club at the moment, which is good news, and the players have fed on that as well too. So it'll be strong.
Were the shades of the siege mentality today when Martin O'Neill said if you missed it, he was talking about the decisions in the Hibs game?
I genuinely don't know that. I think that the games that we've had have been difficult, so I've not tried to analyse that much about it. You know, we've got over the line. We had our difficulties on last week. Well, we certainly had. We had a bit of a problem with VAR. We had a bit of a problem with a few decisions, particularly the first goal that we got. The linesman is about 4 yards off the pace of the game, but still wanted a flag for offside. Good, you know. Don't know how you saw that, but anyway. And of course, we should have had a penalty when the fellow was, just pushed off the pitch. But I think that all firm game look after itself, I think.
And Gary, did you hear? I saw on the BBC this morning on the excellent Martin Geisler on the political programme about the election, and Douglas Ross popped up, and this is what happened.
Last time I saw you were running the line for the Celtic Hibs game at Easter Road.
Let's move on to politics.
Bernard, what did you think of Douglas's performance in that match?
Well, thank goodness for VAR.
That's our own Bernard Ponsonby, the political genius who's on. You hear him in the background running the line badly, so got the Celtic fans. My point on that, Gary, is a bit of a siege mentality.
Yeah, I think so. To be fair, I think Martin's pretty spot on with his analysis there. And I think watching the Hibs game, obviously some of the decisions were quite baffling. As I say, listen, referees are going to get decisions wrong, and we've spoke before about a kind of safety cushion with VAR. where they seem to think where it doesn't matter if they get things wrong because VAR will pick it up. But when you look at the decisions, the Jamie McGrath one is a red card in real time. I don't know how that doesn't get spotted in real time. So obviously they have to go to VAR with that. The Negrin one, the penalty, is absolutely baffling. How that doesn't go to VAR and get checked, or how it doesn't even get given as a penalty. And as I say, he's guessing that Dyson Maida is offside. And listen, I genuinely thought that Dyson Maida was offside at first view. But then obviously the hindsight that we've got as fans is, we've got the camera angles and we can see that he wasn't, that he was just onside. So listen, we don't want to see decisions like that made, or having to rely on VAR on Sunday. But for me, as I say, it's not surprising that we don't have any officials going to the World Cup. I think it's really, really disappointing. But it's not surprising, kind of thing.
Is it fair to say to both of you, Rangers think that the referees favour Celtic, Celtic fans, Celtic Rangers fans think they favour Rangers, and everyone else in the country thinks they favour the Old Firm?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Barry, did you feel that?
Yeah, I just think the refereing's not a great standard up in Scotland, if I've been brutally honest with you. But no, what you've just said is, I totally agree with you.
Was it better in England, the refereeing?
No.
No.
I've spent 5 months. It's exactly the same.
Wasn't just the same?
Well, it was the championship I was in, so
Sure.
not Premier League, but like some of the decisions are baffling, and you don't have VAR there,
of course.
so it can doubly hurt. So that was actually an insight into the old world without VAR.
Yeah.
I'd have taken VAR down there.
Yeah. Would you?
Yeah, I'd have taken it. I just prefer the right decision get made. I'm not a great fan of the delays and all that, but at the same point, when jobs are on the line, I prefer the right decision get made.
Barry, what was your impression of English refereeing versus Scottish?
Yeah, same. You had some good ones, and you had some poor ones. Listen, I'm a long time retired. I've been retired 11 years now. So back then you could have not a laugh and a joke, should I say, but you could have a wee go at a referee and it would have a wee go back. But now I don't think, if you look at them in the wrong manner now, you'll get a yellow card.
Nick Walsh, the referee, on Sunday.
Was?
Yep. One of the best.
I've obviously his referee games. I always kind of gone well with him especially. I think Barry's touched on it again. It has changed, but when you were captain of Dundee, you had to. But part of your thing for your team was to try control it a little bit with the ref. You're not meant to say that, but it's reality. That's why Barry played. It was a nightmare because he was in midfield constantly near the referee. I was trying to get near sometimes, but Nick, I found him okay. Listen, I struggle sometimes. I get it. The refereeing hasn't been great, but at the same point, I try not to criticise him because it is literally the worst job in the world. It looks horrendous.
Who would want to be a referee?
I know. I do.
Crazy.
Is it John Beaton, the referee for the Motherwell game? So, Gary, what do you think is going to happen? Motherwell against Hearts?
I'm seriously hoping that obviously Motherwell can take something from the game, even a point. I'll be honest, I think after the two games with Hearts beating Hibs and Hearts beating Rangers, I think I can't see them slipping up enough to lose the title. I think it's their title to lose, and I genuinely think they will go on and win it. But for me, as I say, Celtic Park will be rocking on Sunday lunchtime, and I'll be there. But the thing is, it's all going to be dependent, I think, on Saturday night, 8 o'clock at Fir Park. That result. If Hearts somehow drop points, I think the atmosphere is just going to be cranked up so much, and I'm hoping that the players can step up and take control of that and try and get in cruise control and pole position for going into the last two games.
And yet you've got to prepare, Darren. I'm sure Martin and you'll be saying, assume that Hearts will win.
100%. That will be it. But you're all human. They will be sitting, I don't know if they'll be in a hotel or whatever, say watching the game separately. They'll certainly be keeping an eye on the score for sure. And whatever the outcome will 100% change their mood. Now, how they handle the Rangers game, ultimately you have to then reset yourself, but of course it affects you.
They'll be watching it, won't they? Because they're playing Motherwell in a few days, and then the Hearts next weekend.
Exactly, yeah. So, it 100% affects players. It's about how you handle if they were to drop points, the kind of getting focused to do your job, because ultimately that's what it's about. And likewise, if they were to win, being able to handle the pressure of being 6 points behind, knowing you have to win your game. So I think that game we've touched on, and Gary has nailed it. Hearts Motherwell will have a huge bearing, I think, on Sunday.
Gary, you'll be at the game on Sunday. Danny Rowe was asked to cast his mind back just a few months ago when Celtic were last up against Rangers at Parkhead.
How can you describe it? This game is a good picture of some games in the last couple of weeks. A first half where we start well, then our opponent was better, they scored, we adjust in the halftime some things, we had a plan B, and then we turned it to 3-1, and we showed that we can do this, and it gives me as well, and all of us, that was a little bit the starting point where we really felt the belief that even something goes doing a game not right, we can turn things in the right direction. And it was a good atmosphere after the game. It gives us also the starting point for, I think, 8 wins in a row. And we want to go there, and we want to put, again, all the things, what we should do in this game. And play, of course, for a good result for us.
Barry, what are you thinking? The games are always different.
I remember watching the game and I was just absolutely delighted to get in 1-0 down, because it was just attack after attack. Rangers just had to, similar to Monday night, just desperate for the half-time whistle, get in, readjust, brought Dio onto midfield, and then they were like a different team. But that's been the story really at Rangers. They've not been able to do it for a prolonged period of time. It's been 45, a good first half, poor second half, or a poor first half, good second half. But they've got the confidence, because the last time they went to Celtic Park they got a good result, and they've got to take the confidence knowing that they can go and do a job there.
Do you think Chermiti will turn up the way he did on that day? He's
turned up in all the big games.
Of course, the Hearts game.
Probably the only thing you would say about the lesser teams. I know he scored a few against Falkirk a few weeks back, but no, he's shown in the big occasion that he can produce big moments, and I'm sure the Rangers fans will be hoping he produces another big moment on Sunday.
Gary, what's your scoreline? What do you think?
I'm hoping for 3-0 to Celtic, but I do think we'll concede, so I'll probably go 3-1 to Celtic. I'm hoping that Dyson or anybody can get an early goal, and I'm hoping that we don't sit back and try and defend, because that's where we seem to go wrong. If we manage to get an early goal, go and batter them. But the one thing that frustrates me, and that's frustrating me about Celtic quite a lot, is trying to play that extra pass.
Yep.
When you get into the final third, they're trying to almost walk the ball into the net, play the pass that's not there. That's fine if you're a PSG, a Man City, or Barcelona, but for me, just as I say, wrap your foot around the ball, laces through it, head down, and just smash it towards goal and try and test Butland, put Butland under as much pressure as possible. So I'm hoping that if we do get the early goal on Sunday, that we do go on and smash Rangers and take it to the last, not the last day, but hopefully we'll go to Motherwell first. But I want it to go to the last day, and then whoever wins the league, I'm absolutely fine with.
Darren, are you taking notes? That's not a bad team talk, isn't it? Barry was smiling as well.
I've played most of my career like that. Head down and smash it. Yeah, that sounds right, Gary.
Yeah. 3-1, he said.
I think it's got a draw, written all over the top of it. Yeah. Honestly believe that.
And tomorrow night, you think it's going to be Hearts, you said earlier on. Yeah. Darren, what do you reckon on Sunday?
I think Celtic will have the upper hand in the first half of the game. It's what happens in the second half. I just think the energy of the crowd, they'll attack the game. I think what they do in the first half, I would think they need to be in a strong lead at halftime. It's so hard to predict. I wouldn't disagree with a draw, but I'll go with my heart and say it'll only be by an odd goal. I don't see them winning by more than one goal.
Gary, thanks so much for your call. 0808 17 17 700.
The Go Radio Football Show with Scottish Gas.
Ahead of the game this weekend, a statement's just come out from Rangers to their supporters. The supporters think 2,500 almost going to the game. It's just come in. It says, ahead of the match, the club reminds supporters that any pitch incursion, the use of pyrotechnics or discriminatory behaviour including but not limited to illicit singing, chanting, or the display of offensive banners, will lead to serious consequences for the club and may result in the arrest of those responsible. Rangers say supporters are reminded that Rangers may be held liable for any damage caused within away sections, with such incidents carrying both financial and reputational consequences for the club. This match, as indeed any other, should be seen as an opportunity to show the very best of the Rangers support and avoid any opportunities for the name of the support or the club to be brought into disrepute. Finally, they say we call on our travelling Rangers supporters to back the team in the right manner and prove once again, and I've just lost it at that moment, it's just gone, I'll get it back. It would happen at the last moment, Barry. So it sounds good common sense, though, coming from Rangers, isn't it, to the fans?
I mean, I'm just happy that the Rangers fans have got the allocation of tickets. And all you want is the Rangers fans just to go there and get right behind the team and try and roll them on to 3 points.
Yep, the final bit is prove once again what a force for good the Rangers support can be, and it gives you the prohibited items. I'll try and summarise it. The following items not permitted, and if you bring them in, you could be refused entry. Flagpoles, canes, face coverings, so that's crucial. No face coverings at the match. Reinforced gloves, drums, megaphones. Flags are permitted but should not exceed 2 metres by 1 metre. So, and the use of pyrotechnics is illegal within Scottish football stadia. Any supporter found in possession of a pyrotechnic device will be arrested. So, listen, hope they go, hope they enjoy it, Barry, and because we don't want to see fans banned from the greatest derby in the world.
No, look, I've always said that, Paul, fans are so important, and especially, in my opinion, the Rangers Celtic games. When both sets of supporters in, they create an unbelievable atmosphere. You just don't want to see any trouble. You just want both sets of supporters to go and sing their hearts out, get behind the team, and just have a good day.
It's going to be some atmosphere, isn't it? We hope there's absolutely no trouble. It's normally really well policed. I think the problem is, in recent years, there were hardly any other fans coming in, and it's not been good, because before you used to get 8,000 opposition fans and it was well policed.
I said that recently, that it absolutely is well policed, because they don't get near each other, and that's maybe from decades and decades gone by where there would be troubles, but by and large these games go without incident, albeit the last one didn't. But anyway, I really hope we're talking about just football after the game.
Alan's been on saying, guys, what about St Mirren? He is a St Mirren fan. We had Robbie in here last night. We've got Jamie, a Kilmarnock fan, on as well. What do you reckon in this one, Barry? St Mirren against Kilmarnock?
Well, I tell you what, a big game it is tomorrow down in Paisley. St Mirren, they've went a wee bit over the last couple of weeks. Kilmarnock's home form's really strong. I think their away form's been the issue for Kilmarnock, but I see Kilmarnock going there and getting the vital 3 points.
Yeah, even though their away form's not what they would want.
I do, because I think it was a great result against Dundee United, let's be honest with you, but I think they know if they go and they get the 3 points against Kilmarnock, they've got 1 foot safely in the Premier League for next season.
Yeah, and they would be 4 points ahead of St Mirren if Killie win. What do you feel, Darren?
Yeah, I said it a while ago, partly because I was part of it, but Neil McCann has the experience of coming into Dundee and doing it exactly what he's doing right now. Craig McLeish, listen, everyone can see he's done a good job, and he's a young coach and has a big future ahead of him, but he doesn't have that experience. And St Mirren have kind of got really dragged back into it, where Kilmarnock have had that mindset for a long time. So right at this very minute, I would be siding with Kilmarnock.
Robbie, the St Mirren fan, in here last night, and Peter Grant said that he thought the extra time kind of knackered them basically against Celtic, 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's just, I think the cup final win early in the season really hurt them as well. It's hard. I don't want to sound disrespectful, because when you're not used to winning leagues and cups, and especially St Mirren, it's euphoric. You're used to that being at the very end of a season where you go on holiday and you really celebrate it. They've probably really celebrated it. It's very hard to reset in season. Now, if you're seasoned at doing that, whether it's Celtic, Rangers, they're kind of used to it. But if you're not used to that, it can be very, very difficult. I just feel like, listen, no one at St Mirren will ever begrudge winning that cup, because it was an outstanding achievement. But I do think it's what's derailed them a little bit for the rest of the season.
Curious season, isn't it, for St Mirren? it'll go down in history. They won the League Cup, but they could go down.
Yeah, since the cup won over Celtic, it has been pretty much downhill. They've really struggled. And obviously it doesn't help when a change of manager coming in. Craig McLeish, I agree with Dan. Look, I think he's got a lot of potential. Young coach, you always want to see him doing well, but this is a real dogfight for them. This is where you've got to scrape to get points, and I just don't know if it's in this at Mum team now.
Dundee playing Livy. Dundee are almost safe, I would think, but what about Marvin Bartley then? So he was told, apparently, he had to reapply for his job. Has he not done a brilliant job since he took over from David Martindale? So many draws, few defeats, and a win as well.
It seems so, but yeah, that's what the word is, that they're going to go through a process, if you want to call it that, an interview process, take applicants, and wanted him to be part of that and go through that, where he's obviously felt, well, I've done my audition, I've managed the club for the last whatever amount of games, and yeah, there has been an upturn in their performances. I can see it both ways, to be honest with you. I can see it both ways.
What would you do if you were in as the interim manager and they asked you to reapply?
I think if they're asking you to reapply, you kind of know you're not first choice anyway.
You'd say cheerio, wouldn't you?
It probably has the writing on the wall, yeah.
I think he's done his interview process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was at the game when Rangers went to Livingston, and I thought they were very well organised. You could see the difference in them. I think he's definitely made improvements. A bit too late to obviously get them away for relegation, but I think he's done a fine job, and I agree with Dan. If he's having to go through the interview process, then that tells me that he isn't first choice.
Yeah. He must be really, really disappointed. And, David Martindale's done so much for that club, but it looks as though, Marvin Bartley stepped up when it was really tough, looked as though they'd go down, but God, he held on for a couple of months, really. Anyway, he's gone. Who's going to win tomorrow? You first, Darren. It's your old club, Dundee, against Livy.
You've got to go Dundee at home.
Yeah. You're allowed.
Scott Arfield going in now. Fair play to him. I'm sure he'll have plenty of ideas, but he's still a player. And you know what? I don't know what his plans are for the rest of his own career. But if it was his last year's playing, I hope he plays himself, because A, he's a very good player, but B, he deserves to go out kind of the way he would want to go out, if that makes sense. Where I wouldn't like to think, because he's now leading the team, he's not going to kind of get a cheerio, if you want to say that.
Barry?
In terms of the result, I think Dundee will win the game.
Right, you think they'll win. And Scott Arfield, do you think he'll do well?
Yeah, well, it looks if it is going to be his last season. Listen, it's a chance to get a bit of coaching experience at Premier League level, and I'm sure he'll be eager to do well the final remaining 3 games of the season. But I just think now Livingston are down. Dundee, I think they know if they get a win, that's them safe for another season. So yeah, I think Dundee will. I don't think they'll win it easily, but I think they'll have too much for Livingston.
And Barry, who do you fancy, Aberdeen or Dundee United?
I'm going to go Aberdeen. Dundee United's away form's not great. Suffered a bad defeat against Kilmarnock last week. Aberdeen, it's a big summer for Aberdeen. I'm sure there'll be a lot of changes. I'm sure they'll have a total different style under Stephen Robinson.
You expect
them surprised to do well? That they took so long, Aberdeen, in the recruitment process. It was crazy, but I think they've got a good manager in place, and I think you'll see a different Aberdeen next year.
This is a huge club. I mean, it is a big club in Scottish terms. They won the Cup Winners' Cup. We know that was a long time ago, and everyone in Aberdeen thinks this is a big club, and it is in many ways. How do you think Stevie's going to do?
I think I agree. I think Aberdeen will win because you've still got that feeling of, as a new manager, people are still trying to, I suppose, play for their career next year. Say career, their Aberdeen future. Where Dundee United are all but there in terms of 7. So I could see Aberdeen winning.
And Falkirk against Hibs with Grant, a Falkirk fan, in last night. Kieran, a Hibs fan in the away top. The striped one, the blue and green one. So what do you fancy on that one? Who is going to win this? Because they're both going for that 4th position.
Yeah, I strongly fancy Falkirk.
Right.
Hibs obviously have had sendings off. I think, I fancy Falkirk.
Barry?
Yeah, I'm going with Falkirk as well for this one. At home, they're a strong team when they play at home. I like the way that Falkirk play the game. Hibs have, as Dan's mentioned there, we're going to have a few players missing. So, yep, I'm going to go for Falkirk for a home win.
Two teams that are good to watch, aren't they? Quite open. Falkirk and Hibs style of play.
Yeah, but I just love I love the fact that Falkirk have had obviously promotion from League One into Championship, then into the Premier League. There's still a few players there that have actually came from League One. I think it's a brilliant story, and you've got to not just give the manager credit, John McGlynn, you've got to give the players credit as well. Because it's no easy jumping from League One into the Championship. They were really strong, and this year, when I've seen Falkirk, I've been really impressed by them, the way that they go about their business.
He was certainly a contender for Manager of the Year. Look, it was going to be Derek McInnes, but my goodness, what a tune out of
he's done brilliant.
John
He's
McGlynn.
done brilliant, and it's the way they've done it. They've not getting to what they've done and achieve what they've done is incredible, but to do it in a real kind of nice style, they're great to watch. I honestly thought after their semi-final they'd kind of really dip. So it's really impressive to see they haven't.
They will be gutted about that. That was their chance to get to a final. Some of the other, not headlines today, but some of the perhaps players on the move. They're saying that Coventry, of course, coming up to the Premier League, they're watching Leon King, the 22-year-old defender who's been on loan from Rangers. Barry, what do you think, Leon King for Coventry?
Well, he's out of contract. I think a young man. It's had a real good season at Ayr United, been really strong. I don't know how truthful that rumour is, but I'm sure there'll be a few clubs and impressed by his performances at Ayr United.
How do you think young James Wilson feels, the 19-year-old? He's been capped by Scotland. He's been at Tottenham, but he was training with the youths, wasn't he? It was the young team.
Yeah,
and he'll be back at the end of the season, back to Hearts, and he's missed the season of a lifetime.
Yeah, when I saw that, I assumed when he went there, it was one of those, it's inevitable he'll sign for Tottenham. But the fact that he's coming back, find that very, very strange.
Barry?
Yeah, again, it was like, obviously I knew it was a loan, but I think it was a loan with a view to a permanent move. Look, I liked him. He burst onto the scene with Hearts, and as you mentioned there, got a Scotland cap, was really good. Doesn't seem to me he's going to have a future at Hearts.
Doesn't look like it, does it? And Barry, is there any truth to the rumour? It's on Team Talk today. Rangers alerted to the Red Bull Salzburg's midfielder Bobby Clark.
I know him.
Do you know him?
I know him pretty well. Yep, he was married there last season. Obviously broke in at Liverpool. Went over to Austria. He's been in loan at Derby the full season. He's played just over 40 games. He's a good footballer, Bobby Clark. I don't know what happened when he moved to Austria. Sometimes it's a bit difficult when you go to a different country, but he's come back to England and he's a really strong season for Derby County. He's one that I think can definitely play at a higher level than, no disrespect to Champions, it's a tough league and it's a very good league with a lot of good teams, but I've always I like Bobby Clark. It's Lee Clark's son, of course, ex-Newcastle, Sunderland, Fulham. So he's a very good football player.
And on the Celtic front, there's no word at the moment. Obviously, the crucial, 10 days, less than that, 9 days now to go to the end of the season. Arnie Engels being watched, and they're also saying that Nygren wanted down south.
Naturally score the amount of goals. He's going to have plenty of eyes on him. And Engels, after the January kind of, Celtic did very well to kind of rebuff that offer because it seemed like an absolute monster offer, but they weren't in a position to sell. So you'd imagine that will be revisited by, I think it was Nottingham Forest at the time, but it potentially from other teams. So Celtic obviously have a massive summer ahead, both ins and outs.
Brian's on. Who's going to come up from the Championship? Who do you think it's going to be that's going to win the playoffs, Barry? Is it going to be Partick Thistle or Arbroath or Dunfermline? What do you think?
I don't know, I've got a funny feeling about Dunfermline. I think it's one of the years where they've reached the Scottish Cup final and it could be, I think they'll get to the final against whoever finishes second bottom. Obviously,
sure.
I think it could be St Mirren, so I fancy Dunfermline.
Darren?
It wouldn't go strongly either way on it. I do think either the St Mirren or Kilmarnock might have enough, but Dunfermline with Neil Lennon, I don't know. He just has a way.
Momentum.
Partick Thistle, have needed the break because they've had plenty of injuries and they were kind of hanging on. So you wonder what way do they come into it now? Do they hit the form they were in? But they've done brilliantly this year. I think the Premier League team will stay up.
You do, yeah. You obviously, you know Neil Lennon really well. Mark Wilson as well.
Yeah. They've done great,
player,
yeah.
haven't they? Yeah. And Mark, what a job he's done this season when you think about it, to keep them up there challenging until just a couple of games from the end of the season.
Yeah, well, considering how good St. Johnstone were, the fact that he was kind of, as you said, kept it alive. No, he's done a great job.
We're going to turn our attention to the two biggest games. That's coming up next.
The Go Radio Football Show with Scottish Gas.
We just want to say thank you to everyone who came in last night, the fans from so many different clubs in the Premiership, and some great chat. And we're going to do this again more and more along with our pundits. Last night it was Big Kevin Kyle and Peter the Great Grant who was here. So the great chat, great pictures been taken, and they're so insightful, the Scottish football fans, aren't they? The people who go to the games, they know their stuff, Darren.
Yeah, I think it's a brilliant idea. It's a brilliant idea. Every club, or pretty much every club represented, and you get kind of live, face-to-face opinion. No, it sounds really, really good.
Jim's on asking, Darren, are you missing it? Being in coaching? Obviously, you started the season at Swansea City.
Yeah.
He's just asking.
Yeah, no.
What are you going to
do? It's one thing that's taught me is you could have all the money in the world. Working and being active is vital. I've not enjoyed one bit of being out, but at the same point, you need to make the right decisions and not jump into everything, which I would love to do. But hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll see something happen.
Hopefully you'll not be a stranger to us, whatever happens.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, purpose is such a big thing,
That's
isn't it?
massive,
Because you're young men, your playing career's over, but you want to work.
Yeah, well, I was 15 when I came over here, and there's not been a day I've not had something to get up for. And honestly, not having it, and people say, oh, you can play golf and you can do this. I hated it. I have hated every minute of it. I would work every day I could.
Barry, for you, the transition when you hung up the boots and then management as well.
No, I get what Darren's saying, and look, I just like what I'm doing, a bit of media, and I'm really busy with obviously the role I've got at Rangers, the ambassadorial role. I love it. It's
but you've got structure, kind of.
It gives me structure when I get up in the morning. I'm pretty much busy with that, every day. But if I've not got something on there, I'll have a bit of radio. But it's important that you've got structure in your life. I totally get it. I don't like waking up and lazing about the house. I'm not that type. If I've not got nothing on the day, I'll go and do I'll do a run or a walk, or I'll go and hit a golf ball. But most days I've got something going on, which I think is important.
And you did have today. Tell us about where you were just before you came in.
Yeah, I was doing something for Rangers today, dementia, the Rangers charity. Get a group of people, I think it was about 25, 30 people who suffer from dementia. So I was along having a chat with them for about an hour and a half. It was brilliant, some of the stories, and just chatting away about football and about life in general. And I get a lot out of things like that. I really enjoy doing things like that. And it's not just about going to games for me, for my role. There's a lot of other things within the club. It's like the Easter camps with the kids go, mental health stuff as well. So I really enjoy it, and it keeps me busy.
And the guys today, was it men?
Men and women.
Yeah, men and women, brilliant.
Yeah, they come and they have a wee cup of tea, biscuit, wee sandwich, a wee pie, and just talk about football. Obviously, they were all Rangers supporters, and they were just interested in a lot of things. And obviously, some are suffering worse than others. But it was really interesting, and as I said to you, I get a lot of pleasure out of doing stuff like that.
And when you showed them pictures, tell us that.
No, there was loads of old programmes and stuff about, and it was just amazing where some, obviously their memories are not great, and they would look at pictures, and their memory would come back to players for 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years ago.
And they could remember the players.
Yep.
They named them.
Yep. And they were just chatting about obviously what's happened over the last couple of weeks as well. So yeah, very fulfilling. I've got to be honest with you, and it's something that I get so much out of, I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, it is great. So many players, ex-players, managers do so much in the community.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And it's great kind of hearing stories like that. And I suppose as footballers, ex-footballers, coach, whatever it is, it's a privilege that you could make a difference. So the work obviously Barry's doing with stuff like that is fantastic to hear.
It's amazing the power that you've got. Never underestimate when people meet you because you've been their heroes for years. And not just people with dementia, although it is phenomenal.
And see if it makes a small
huge
percent a difference, then I'm absolutely delighted. Just going in and seeing their faces, and as I said, it's seeing people. I know people who family members have suffered. I've had family members that have suffered from it as well, and you're just doing your bit to try and go and see them and have a chat about football, because football brings a lot of people together, which is brilliant.
Football and music. It's amazing as well that they remember tunes. Yeah.
Yeah, but I even think of myself, when you hear a song, you can actually remember the time of your life that song was live. So, no, it's great work that's been done.
Right, I'll check a song with you here. No, maybe later. So tomorrow night, I think you're both going for Hearts.
Yeah, I think it's. Listen, it's one of the ones. Yeah. I mean, again, I'll go back to a couple of weeks ago when I was at Ibrox. I was just so impressed by Motherwell. Just the way that they play with a real freedom. And what I like about them, see if they make a mistake, it doesn't affect them. They'll keep going, they'll keep trying. They've got a good, real good balance. And
the pressure's off.
I just think with Hearts, after the last couple of results they've had against Hibs and Rangers, I think they'll be going to Fir Park with a bit between their teeth. Knowing it's going to be difficult, I just get a funny feeling they'll just sneak at Hearts.
And they must have that confidence, Darren, because Motherwell were 3 up, as we all know the story early in the season, and Hearts got it back to 3-3. But it's maybe different now. I'm not trying to pile the pressure on Hearts, but you know, if Motherwell did score, Maswanisi, whatever, Just or whoever.
No, you're 100% right. It's 100% different, because Hearts now go to the game where during the season you draw even away at Fir Park. It's not the worst result in the world. Right now, then they realise it puts it right back into Celtic's hands. So the pressure on Hearts is absolutely mounted. But so far they've handled it, and they've answered every question. This one is the one, I think. I think if they win, I don't think they're for catching. They'll know that as well.
Sure. I was asking last night. We were asking Ian and Michael, the Motherwell fans, their player of the year. I'm trying to remember who they went for. I think Maswanisi. I don't know if I actually asked them that one. We were asking everyone, who's your player of the year. They found it hard at Rangers or Celtic to say who it would be. There was no standout. At Motherwell, Elijah Just, in fact, they went for. I think they did.
I like the boy in the middle of the park as well. What? He controlled the pace of the game when Motherwell travelled to Ibrox. But it's not just about one player. I just think Motherwell as a whole have just got a real good connection, and it's just the difference in them. I mean, if you watch Motherwell last season to this season, the manager, I know he got pre-season, but he's implemented a style that they've bought right into the players.
So if Hearts win, though, they'll be on 79 points when Celtic and Rangers step out on Sunday for the 12 o'clock kick-off. Danny Rule knows this is a special game.
Special game for us. I think it was straight after the game as well, the message to my players that we have a big responsibility general for the last 3 games to go. And I think nobody need extra motivation to go in this game. We want to make our supporters and fans proud, and it means we have to deliver.
Yeah, no motivation needed.
I think for this game you don't need motivation. For us it's about winning games, and I think there's more just about to stop someone else about winning a title. For us it's about, like I said, make our supporters proud, and it means for us to deliver a good result and hopefully 3 points.
It does sound a bit low-key. I mean, last Friday night...
I don't know if they need to turn the volume up in the mic.
No, I think they have.
I can see, because there was quite a number of people that pointed that out, the presser before the...
Last Friday.
The Hearts game. Yep. But listen, he's like that. He's pretty laid back and relaxed. That's just the type of character he is. But he's saying the right things. Look, you're going there, you're going for a bit of pride, you're going to try and make the supporters happy on the day. And again, they need to show a react. They have to show a reaction. That's the main factor for me.
Let's hear from Martin and Neil then, before we get your actual predictions. And I think this was in the context of it's the last game of the season for Celtic and Rangers, and maybe his last time up against the Gers.
Just the intensity, the atmosphere itself, both at Celtic and at Ibrox, yeah, it really is phenomenal. And the game that the atmosphere at Ibrox, particularly in the first game, where they scored 2 early on, and excuse me, in the match, the place was really, really rocking. Compares to any atmosphere in Britain and probably in Europe. And I think that could be echoed tomorrow or on Sunday.
There'll be some game on Sunday. You didn't mention the 6-2 one there, Barry. We used to joke about that with you, and then it was 5-1 a few weeks later.
That was just that was crazy,
wasn't it?
Wow. Yeah, but see when you're, I'd been at loads of games when you're in the stand, but see actually when I was back last year and you're on the touchline, it is absolute manic. I forgot how actual loud it is at pitch level. It's deafening, and it's special.
We used to always get taught that in the academy was people talk about communicating with each other, and then you used to always say a Celtic Rangers game you cannot communicate with each other. You have to know what your teammate is doing. You have to trust, because and people talk about games starting at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Decent games invariably never die off, so they're fantastic.
What do you think is going to happen? Darren, you first. What kind of game? Who are you looking to in the Celtic team? To just a couple of names.
Daizen Maeda. Daizen Maeda has been the difference maker in the last few games. He's going to be pivotal to Celtic. I'll go Celtic 2-1.
Barry, what do you feel?
My heart or my head?
I think
I went with my heart.
Sure.
Listen, I would love to. I've just got something in the back of my head. A score draw. I'm going to go 1 each.
And who are you seeing for Rangers? I mean, Nico Raskin could do with a great game. Might be his last Old Firm game.
Yeah, he's going to, depending on where you play Nico. I was just speaking to Dan off air there. I just think he's so more productive a bit further forward in the middle of the pitch. But that's only my opinion. Listen, everybody's got different opinions. But I would like to see Conor Barron come in and just anchor in the middle of the pitch, and it kind of frees up Nico and Dio to get that bit further forward up and support whoever's going to be playing up top.
And Callum McGregor?
Yes, massive. He'll be a big part of it. Talk about the atmosphere. We're talking about the kind of physical side. You still need to have the composure and being able to play, and he absolutely can. So he'll be a huge part of Celtic.
Guys, thank you so much. Enjoy the game, enjoy everything this weekend, and enjoy Dunfermline tonight at Arbroath. We'll be watching that one. Thank you for that clip earlier. We've got the BBC clip of Bernard Ponsonby, who will be here on the Politics Show on Sunday morning. And don't miss Tom and Willie, the business show at 11 o'clock. Have a great weekend.